Hi guys, so in this video we're going to go over the different parts of a circle, and then later on we will go ahead and focus on one key part. So for now, the first thing that you have to know is the center of a circle. The center of the circle is this white point that I've put right at the middle of the circle. Now another thing that you have to know that's not one of the ones that I wrote down, one of the four, is that the circle in a way is the outside of it. Okay, so a point on the circle, what it means is a point on the white line that I'm drawing. Okay, so for example, a point right here is not considered to be at the circle because it's not on the it doesn't make up the outside. I hope that makes sense. So a point on the circle, what we mean by that is a point on the outside. Alright, so now let's go over the definition of radius and why this is connected to what I just explained. The distance from the center of the circle to a point on the circle. So remember, points on the circle, so these are points on the circle. So if I go ahead and draw a line segment from here to this point on the circle, that is my radius. So that's the distance. If I go ahead and use a ruler, that distance would be the radius. Now if I go ahead and do the same to this one, this is also r, or it's also the radius, because it connects the center to a point on the circle. And it is actually true that all radius or all radii are is a plural of radius. So all radii are equal to each other. So if, for example, this one's equal to 6, then the next one has to be equal to 6. So they all keep the same distance. So if this is r, then they are all equal to 6. Any point, sorry, not every point, every line segment that connects the center to a point on the circle has to have the same distance, and they are all radii. So they are all, in a way, radius. So now that we have that, let's go over the next one. The next one is known as the diameter. Now the diameter is a bit different. It says the following: a line segment connecting 2 points on the circle and passing through its center. Its distance is 2 times the radius. So it has two requirements. First of all, it has to connect 2 points on the circle. So in other words, remember, we're talking about these points, right? So these are points on the circle. So it has to connect 2 points. But it also has to pass through the center. So for example, if I go ahead and draw my line segment here, is that a diameter? Does it meet the two criteria? In other words, does it connect 2 points on the circle? Yes, it does. Does it pass through the center? This is the center, remember? Does it pass through there? No, so this is not a diameter. Now, the following is a diameter. If I go ahead and do this, that is a diameter because it passes through the center of the circle, and it also goes ahead and connects 2 points on the circle. I hope this is making sense. Now, key information that I want you to go ahead and keep in mind is this: its distance is 2 times the radius. So I'm also going to go ahead and highlight that. So its distance is 2 times the radius. Now let's check why that makes sense. Well, if you remember, oh, sorry, I was using the okay, I was using the highlighter. But now remember, any point on the circle, and then any line segment connecting any point on the circle to the center is a radius, right? So if this is 6, if this is a radius, then it must be 6. Now this one, the one that we have here, what should be the distance of that one? Well, it should also be 6 because it meets the same criteria for radius. It goes ahead and connects the center of the circle to a point on the circle. So this is also equal to 6. Now the length of the diameter, so the length of the diameter, so all this is the diameter. How long is the diameter? Well, the diameter is 12, right? Because it is composed of two radii. I hope this is making sense. So again, the radius in a way is 2 times, not the radius, the diameter is in a way 2 times the radius. So this is the radius, and if this is equal to 6, then that means that my diameter, green doesn't look too good. Let's try red. So we have this. This should be d is equal to 12. So the diameter is equal to 12. Now, our next key term is the circumference. Now, the circumference says is the distance around the circle. So in other words, that means this. So the distance around it. So if I were to grab a string, how much string do I need to go ahead and enclose? So in other words, put around the circle. So not inside the circle, but on the outside. How much string do I need? Well, I would have to go ahead and put it around the circle and then stretch it again and put it on a ruler, and that would tell me how long the circle is, right? In a way, the distance around the circle. So that's the one that we're going to go ahead and work on today. So we're going to go ahead and work on the distance around the circle, or in other words, the blue line that I just drew. Now, how is that different from the next one? And that's our next lesson, not the one that we're doing today, but the following lesson will be the area. The area is the amount of 1 unit squares required to fill the circle. So that's different from the area, because the area is talking about filling in the circle with, in a way, you go ahead and cut it up, and then you go ahead and find the squares. So how many squares do I need to fill it in? That's different from what we're doing today, because today we're only focusing on the length around the circle. Hopefully this is making sense. So now, to figure out the length around the circle, we have to go ahead and use a formula. The formula for the circumference is going to be C is equal to 2 times pi times r. Now, one mathematical symbol that you might not be familiar with, but you probably heard before, is pi. Pi is an infinite number, and we approximate it to be approximately 3.14. Now, when we approximate, we don't use the equal, we go ahead and use this. So approximately 3.14. So pi in reality goes on forever, but we say that it is approximately 3.14. So now let's go over some quick examples. So example number 1.